Hey, welcome to Did You Watch Survivor Last Night? Where I, Jake Scheidel, asked Thomas Powell if you watched Survivor last night. See, Thomas, I did a little introduction because we usually don't do that.
Yeah, I was impressed. That's the whole show, by the way.
That's it.
We've been deviating from our set formula, but he's just going to ask me, I'm going to tell him, and then, cut to
And
everything.
then that's it. That's it. There's a minute and a half of intro music and a minute and a half of terrible outro music and about 30 seconds in the middle where we just check in with each other.
The only podcast on the iTunes store where the intro and closing music are both longer than the actual audio.
I mean, they probably put more work into what they created than what we've created. We just watch a television show.
Showcase them. We're just trying to showcase unknown band.
Have you heard of the Dead Kennedys? Pretty good. They got a pretty good song called Holiday in Cambodia.
It's a young, up-and-coming group.
From the 1980s. So this is the sixth... Oh, before we even get into it, Thomas, got a question for you.
Oh, I'm in suspense. What is it?
It's the title of our show. Thomas, did you watch Survivor last night?
I did.
Oh, yeah? That's good.
Yeah, I did.
That's good.
I did.
Coming around. I'm glad.
This is gonna be pretty anticlimactic every episode now because it's gonna be just like, yeah, I did.
Yep, I did. All right. So see you next week.
I'm doing that now.
Yeah, I'm really excited that it only took 4 episodes of you not watching to be like, you know what, I should watch this.
Yep. I've gotten 2 good episodes out of it, too. This one was another good one.
It was. This is the 6th episode of Survivor Cambodia, Second Chance. It's called Bunking with the Devil, which is a quote they took from Spencer, which we will get to.
Yes.
In the preview for last week's preview for this week, I should say, they implied that somebody gets medically evacuated, which isn't exactly what happened.
The thing with getting medically evacuated is it didn't really make any sense. I was like, wait, how does he get medically evacuated? Like, why is Probst doing this in the middle of the night? Hey, it's Probst. I secretly took a stool sample of yours, and it turns out that you have food poisoning. You have to go.
Jeff Probst is the doctor on the show. He samples everyone's stool every night.
Yeah, I mean, he does it, like, discreetly. They don't know he's doing it.
They only know he's doing it when something goes wrong.
And nothing ever goes wrong. He has to kill them if something goes wrong.
Guess you're not a survivor. So yeah, the first shot of the episode is like a night vision shot. The tribe is sleeping, and Probst walks in and like kind of whispers to Terry to wake him up, and Terry wakes up with the most confused look on his face. He's like,
he like stumbles over with Probst too. He's like, "Hey, we're coming to the beach," and Terry's just like, "Oh,
okay."
He looks like a toddler.
Yeah. So Terry's son, back on the homeland, is in the hospital, and like I thought that there was going to be like some debate, like, "Oh, my son's really sick. Should I go see him, or should I stay here and try to win the game?" But immediately he was just like, "Yeah, I gotta go."
No, Terry would be kind of a shitty person if he was like your wife and the doctor think this is serious enough that you should come home for it. He's like, "Yeah, but I really want to win this game.
This game that I've already played.
If I won $1 million, I could buy a new son."
Yeah. So yeah, he goes home, and it's a real bummer when he goes back to tell his tribe. It's very sad. It's a very sad part of the episode.
It was sad. I did think people were a little too sad about it. Like, it seemed like people were kind of like, I mean, just to be sympathetic or whatever, it did kind of seem like people were just like, oh my god, like, I'm crying about this thing that I don't know anything about at all. for Terry's son that I didn't know that he had.
They probably mentioned it at some point. Like, they just didn't put it on the episode, but I'm sure in camp life they talked about it.
Everybody's bummed for him because,
yeah,
he didn't get a chance to go, like, 2 more rounds before getting eliminated.
Yeah, that's true. He wasn't
he was not winning that game.
He was not part of that strong 5.
Not that ended up mattering. Segway.
There was a talking head with Cass, which just illustrated even more how unlikable she is.
Oh, yeah, I got my first taste of her this week.
Oh, yeah.
There were a lot of talking heads of her, and was not down. Was not into it.
She said,
could do without her.
I think you need to be a parent to understand what Terry's going through. And then she, takes a minute and kind of, composes herself. She's like, I just can't even imagine. She's been hit so hard about this, but she doesn't even have kids. She doesn't understand what he's going through, but is still trying to act like this super sympathetic character.
A lot of crying and almost crying in the testimonials this week.
Yeah, there is. There really is. That's what they should have called this episode, the crying game.
The theme of this week was fighting back tears. Yes, the crying game. That makes perfect sense. Remember that movie, The Crying Game, where they were on an island and someone had to leave kind of early?
Well, because they're all crying, and it's a game. The crying game.
I want that alternate version of The Crying Game, where it's just a game to see who can cry the most. Who can cry longest?
I think Steven would win this week. He was very upset in his interview later in the episode. Keith, Keith's a good dude. He had a son. He played Survivor with his son. He was like, let's bring this home for Terry. That's a really bad impression of Keith, but that's what it sounded like.
I actually thought Keith was on the podcast for a second. I was like, did we nail that guest spot?
Oh, did I not mention the special guest this week?
Is this a 3-way call? Where'd Keith go?
Spencer lives in Chicago, so if I ever see him, I'm going to try to get him to come on the episode. Come on an episode of this. Do you want to come talk about this show you were on for free? We won't pay you for your appearance.
No compensation.
So they go. How they all meet up after the last tribal council for the next challenge. So they walk up, and who lost the last challenge? Angkor, right? Or
no,
it was the Bayan. Bayan lost. So Brooks is like, oh, see, no Monica, and everybody's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then the 2 tribes are just standing there like, where's the 3rd tribe? And they're all looking around the field they're standing in, I don't see them anywhere. And they finally walk up and notice that Terry's not there, and Spencer's jaw just drops. He's like, oh my god. He couldn't even imagine that someone would have to leave early.
Did they kill Terry?
They killed Terry. They took this game way too seriously. So Jeff Probst tells the rest of the tribes what happened with Terry, and Andrew, like a dummy, mentions that he thinks his family is more important than Survivor, which, yeah, right. I think Survivor is more important than everything.
Yep. You gotta have your priorities straight.
Yeah. Being with my family is not going to win me $1 million. You know what I mean?
Get your head in the game, Andrew.
Yeah,
this is your second chance. You're not getting a third chance.
You don't get a second chance. Well, you could get a second chance with your family.
You can get a second and third family.
Yeah. Who cares? Some people have 2 families at once. And it's not even a big deal.
How many people have families? How many people have been on Survivor? I rest my case.
Exactly. And now you're 1 in 15. You got a good shot at this, Andrew. Don't fuck it up. So Jeff Probst does that thing again where he is like, hey, how's everybody doing? Sucks that Terry had to leave, but are you guys all cool? And they're all like, yeah, I feel like we have a really good tribe. And
he's like, well, guess what?
Guess the fuck what? He says, I'm glad to know we have 3 very tight tribes, because the great thing about Survivor, it just keeps moving forward. And then he says, drop your buffs. And and they switched back into 2 tribes again.
So they had a third tribe for, 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It made things interesting.
I guess. Yeah. Andrew is very thrilled to not be on Angkor anymore.
Yeah, he really, his opinion changed on tribe swaps pretty quickly. Because the first one he was like, I can't do tribe swaps. I'm really bad at it. I have really bad luck with it. And then this time he was like, yeah, okay, let's get rid of this tribe because they're terrible.
Literally said, got out of that hellhole.
Yeah. So Spencer ends up on a tribe with Cass. Those two have history. They were on their first season together. They were on the same tribe, and they both were. They were really the Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton of their season. You know what I mean?
Sure. Who's the Jim? What the fuck?
Jim Webb?
Dropped it. Yeah, he dropped out of the race. I don't need to know his last name.
Yeah. Who's the other one that's still in? Martin O'Malley? Who's the Martin O'Malley of Survivor?
Who's the Lincoln Chafee?
He dropped out too, I think.
No. Well, I mean, he really didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Democratic presidential debate last night?
Yeah, I did. I did see it. Well, most of it. So, Spencer is talking about the tribe swap and where everyone ended up. And he goes, it is a cluster expletive.
Expletive.
I really liked how he said
cluster
that.
What, Spencer?
They can't say the F word on CBS.
I don't understand.
Which expletive is it?
Cluster ass.
It was a real cluster ass, that tribe swap.
Real cluster damn.
So, oh man, I should have written down what everybody's new tribe was. That would have been really helpful. Oh well. So Kelly Wentworth is a target, which she has a hidden immunity now, so like no worries. And then Steven is worried because he feels like he is on a tribe with a bunch of alpha males, which is like, yeah, you should feel worried because they'll vote you out. That's when we get to the reward challenge, which, as far as I can tell, was just a big slip and slide.
Yeah, it was a ring toss and a slip and slide.
Yeah. So they had to slip and slide down this slide, pick up a ring, and toss a ring on a post. And the first person to get 3 rings on the post wins. Or not first person, first tribe.
Yeah. So
Steven gets up. It's his turn. I just have to mention.
I mean, yeah, that was pretty bad. But so we got to see all of the like hot dudes all oiled up.
Oh yeah, there was at one point Joe was going up and somebody yelled out, "Oil up, Joe!"
Yep.
Everybody
cool.
likes
like,
Joe.
Joe's got like a pretty decent build, but like Jeremy, like damn, dude.
Yeah, he's a firefighter. So, yeah. Steven runs and throws like a nerd, which is very on brand for him. And then he's like so bad at it. He's like, I don't know how to throw things. I'm a nerd. I like books. And he quits his he loses his match. And he's walking back to the tribe, and Jeremy's just like, come on, man, you gotta have confidence in yourself. And Steven's like, yeah, okay, I guess you're right, Jeremy.
I don't like sports ball. You can go watch your hand egg game.
Yeah. So then we talk about more of how Spencer really doesn't like Cass, but Andrew loves Spencer, and he's going to use...
By the way, we should mention that I can't remember the green team's name for some reason.
Takeo.
Takeo won, and they won fried chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Mac and cheese and watermelon, which Probst did not mention initially, but...
So, yeah, they won. Good job, guys. So Andrew says that he's going to use his distaste... Andrew's going to use Spencer's distaste for Cass to his advantage. Then they're all they do the numbers, and they're like, oh, hey, in case we lose immunity, let's just have this in our back pocket. Here's the plan. Let's vote out Spencer. And they have enough people that are like, yeah, sounds good. And the plan is to tell Spencer that everybody's voting out Sierra. You know, the biggest threat in the game. And Sierra gets word of this and is like, me? Like, hold the phone. Which I really liked.
She was the biggest threat this week because she was just like, nope.
Yeah, she's
Not even
so good.
hypothetically am I having this.
Yeah. She was like, yeah, if you ever hear your name mentioned, you should be nervous. And so she did a lot of moving around, a lot of strategy this game.
Probst brought that one back, by the way, once they hit Tribal Council.
Yeah.
Probst turned that one into a question for somebody.
Yeah. That was good, too. That was quality hosting on Jeff Probst's part.
Look, Probst is always on point, but I think he was kind of killing it this week.
Oh, yeah. Kills it every week. There are certain times you will take things for the team. This is not one of them. Oh, that's more of what Sierra said about that. And then there was a point in, they always show, like, just shots of, like, tribe life, or camp life. Because it's not all challenges and immunity idols, Sometimes you're just hanging out at the beach with your friends.
Just people,
Yeah.
People, being people, hanging out with people.
Seems like Keith and Kimmy have a really fun rapport. They seem to be having a good time together, which I like to see that.
I think that the relationships that you make on Survivor are worth more than the $1 million you win. I'm kidding. Fuck that.
Well, I mean, it's ironic because Kelly Wigglesworth originated I Didn't Come Here to Make Friends. Then at the end of the show, you got 19 new best friends. It's a show about making friends.
It is. You are here to make friends. The show is called Making Friends.
The twist on the next season of Survivor is like, just find your best friend. There's no money this time. Just figure out who your best friend is.
You guys are just hanging out. It's like camp.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Survivor summer camp.
It's like that show on MTV, Are You the One? But instead of trying to find like a life partner, you're just finding a best friend. It's like, I think this person's my best friend.
Jake, we would never have to go on that show. That's all I'm saying.
We don't have to go on that show. We won an award for our best friendship.
We are award-winning best friends. There is no place for us on that hypothetical show.
But if it does exist in the future, we should probably be producers on it. Or judges, at
totally.
least. We can be the Tyra and Miss J. Is that their name?
Yeah. We understand the importance of having a best friend, so we just want other people to find that and also do Survivor-style challenges.
I can imagine, like, it'd
Jeff
probably
Probst
be
would definitely host that show, right? We would like pay him.
Jeff Probst would host it, and we would be the judges on it. And the promos for it, or the little logo they put in the corner of like what channel would it be on, like Bravo.
Sure.
It would just be like me and you like crossing our arms back to back and be like, you know how best friends be.
And we're like wearing matching outfits.
I really want to make this show.
I don't know if we want to pitch this to Bravo though, because maybe Levy would like find a way to get on this show somehow, and it'd be like, get out of here.
You know what I just realized though? This was already a show, sort of. Paris Hilton.
What?
Like in the heyday of like all those dating reality shows on MTV and VH1, which we have discussed in previous episodes of this show.
We've devoted some time to that.
Just like 15 to 20 minutes every episode. They were like, oh, we got to find a new twist for this next show. What are we going to do? It's Paris Hilton. We can't find anybody who wants to date Paris Hilton. Let's find her a new best friend. Oh, because her and Nicole Richie had broken up after The Simple Life. So she's like, I got to find a new best friend.
Oh, no, I do remember this, but this would be different, though. That's just a bunch of sycophants trying to be friends with a famous person. This is just a bunch of regular folks all trying to find best friends.
Okay, so no to Bravo because we don't want to deal with Andy Cohen. MTV? Is that where to do that? Comedy Central? That might be fun.
If it were with Comedy Central, I would want Andy Daly to host it. Sorry, Jeff.
That would be so
I
good.
love you, but
They could be co-hosts like the first season of American Idol.
oh, that'd be great. Who's the Dunkelman? And there's no Dunkelman in that scenario. That's too Seacrest.
That's too Seacrest.
They said it couldn't be done.
But we did it with our show that it has a title.
What is the show called? What is it? What would we call the show?
Friends Five Ever? Friends Forever? Friends...
I guess, yeah, Best Friends Forever.
It Takes Two? Is that a good... It Takes Two? I don't know. And then the logo... I feel like the logo should be like two like martini glasses clinking. You know, like like a cheesy chain bar would have in their logo.
Like, yeah, man. Life is good. Clinks martini glasses. That's really what we're all striving for.
Just want somebody to drink martinis with. But then the twist at the end of the show would be like, hey, actually, you could have been best friends with anyone in the house. It's up to you. And there's no drama at all. It's just like 20 people who get along all the time and don't fight. And they're just like, I would like to hang out with these people.
So it's like Better Real World?
Yeah. That's the title. Better Real World.
Real World, but better.
You know how...
Real World 2.0, best friends.
You know, the last few seasons of The Real World, they had been like putting twists on. The first time they had all the exes move in, which was a great season. And then this last season, they had like people from their past move in. It was a less good season. And this next one, apparently they do challenges every week. That's what I've heard, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. I think they should do a season where their best friend just moves in and you're like, hey, cool, let's all just hang out and have no issues with anyone.
There's no tension at all. What? By the way, the challenge one, isn't that basically just the challenge then?
Well, I don't know. From what I heard, because I'm always looking it up to see when it's going to start airing, that and the new challenge.
Yeah, I've actually checked your internet history before, and it's literally just wall-to-wall Google searches of, like, when new Real World? When new Real World? What new Real World be?
I want my MTV. But yeah, the thing I read said that the first episode, they all had to, like, jump out of a hot air balloon to stay on the show. Sounds like a really weird thing to do. I don't know if they got parachutes or what.
Kill yourself.
You want to be on this show? You gotta die. Would you die for MTV? No. That sounds terrible.
If you survive, you win.
What do I win? To be on this show some more. Sounds like a bad prize.
The greatest prize of all, being an MTV celebrity.
But you could be on the challenge next season. Have I told you about the next season of the challenge? What it is?
We gotta stop this. We gotta
okay
this right now. We need to get back to Survivor.
Well, hopefully the next season of the challenge starts airing after this season of Survivor, so we can transition into that.
I'm down.
Good. So talking about Sierra, Kimmy and Keith have a fun rapport. Oh, and then Joey. You know Joey.
Joey, what everyone calls him.
Her good buddy Joey. Joey. I don't know why I keep saying
yes, Joey. I don't know why you keep correcting yourself.
So Joey mentions that he wants to keep Kelly with an E around because that's an extra vote for him in Final Tribal Council or whatever.
Keep, like, the two most attractive people in our tribe.
Yeah, I would say so. Steven mentions that he doesn't trust Joe, which, like, of course you don't. Like, Joe's a really good player. Why would you trust him? I understand where you're coming from, Steven. But Jeremy mentions that he wants to keep Joe around because it's all about the numbers, you know?
Also, he wants Joe's his shield because the spotlight comes on him as being, like, the alpha male, like, super ripped, hot body guy as soon as Joe's gone.
everybody's going to be like, oh, look at this Jeremy dude.
I didn't realize how shredded you were, Jeremy. And he's like, no. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, whatever. So, Steven is trying really hard to get a bunch of people to vote out Joe. Which is, I get it, but can we just keep him around a little bit longer?
Yeah, I don't... This made me sad.
Yeah,
there's someone else in your tribe.
It really was. It really was sad because he's trying so hard. And he
just vote Kimmy off. You have no use for her.
Yeah, right. She's one of those players that just stays under the radar for most of it, and then they get to the end and they're like, "You didn't do anything to deserve to be here, so we're gonna vote you out now."
Speaking of players like that, it also made me really sad that everyone for Takeo was just like, "Nah, Abby's good. No one can touch Abby."
Yeah.
No, please get rid of Abby.
I like that you were about to say, "Please touch Abby," and then we're like, "Yeah, I don't like the wording of that."
Had to work on my phrasing.
So Steven has his little interview about voting out Joe, and he gets exasperated, and he starts crying. He's like, "This is my second chance, and I need to take advantage. I need to take every opportunity I get, and if we don't get him out now, then we can't get him out because he's going to win." And he's very upset, and it was very sad to watch. And it almost made me vote for Steven, or root for Steven over Joe, but then they showed Joe again, and I was like, okay.
It's tough for me because I honestly think they're my two favorite people on the show thus far. And,
okay.
I
would say my two favorites would be Sierra and Joey.
I do like Sierra, and I like Tasha a lot too. But
oh yeah, Tasha's really great. Oh,
Joe's my number one. You know that though.
Of course, Joe is everyone's number one. Bringing up Tasha again, in her first season, which she was on the tribe in her first season with Spencer and Cass. They were on the Brains tribe in that season. They had somebody else on the team who, okay, as bad as Abby is, she is nothing compared to this woman, Jatia, I think was her name. They would lose every challenge, and she was just getting really upset because she, I don't know, couldn't build any momentum for herself or something. And at one point, took all of the tribe's rice and threw it in the fire. Just to, piss everyone off. I'm still really mad about it. It happened 3 years ago. It doesn't affect my life at all. It's just why would you do that? That's so mean. That's it.
It's a nice little Survivor history lesson.
Yeah. If you don't know your Survivor history, you're doomed to repeat it. Which brings us to the immunity challenge.
Is this going to be on the exam, by the way?
It will be on the exam. It is 40% of your grade. I hope you studied. There are going to be
I'll just bullshit my way into an A with the essay section of it.
Let's hear a 250-word essay on the spot about the history of Survivor. Ready, go.
Jeff Probst is cool. He hosts Survivor. It's a show where people are on an island and they do challenges and stuff. Yeah, I like Jeff Probst.
You know what? I'm Professor Survivor, and I'm going to have to give you an A+ for that essay. That was really good. Came in a little low on word count, but the quality was still there.
Yeah, I'm a quality, not quantity kind of guy, and I worked really hard on it.
I get it. I mean, obviously you edited some things down. You didn't want to draw anything out. I like that you.
I wanted to be succinct,
Exactly. You were succinct and thorough, which is exactly what I'm looking for in Survivor 101.
Did I get the job?
You definitely got the job of continuing to be in this class.
All right.
Next year you can go on to Survivor 201.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the immunity challenge, they walk up and there's a table that Probst is standing behind, and then two benches, one for each tribe, which kind of looks like the setup for the auction, which is something they do later in the season. I'm sure they'll do it this season because they love bringing back things. What this actually is an eating challenge.
Yep. Probst is get ready to eat some gross shit.
Yeah. They've apparently done this challenge 14 times, which is a lot of times.
Fear Factor's not on the air anymore. Somebody has to do it.
I think they probably did it a lot when Fear Factor was on, because it was like, hey, you like watching people eat gross shit? We do that too. So what they have to do is eat. Jeff Probst says they have to eat Cambodian delicacies. I wouldn't call them delicacies.
Yeah, this seems more like, well, I mean, we don't have anything else to eat, so.
Yeah. It's like bugs and animal parts that you wouldn't normally eat. This isn't a delicacy.
I don't know, that duck embryo looked pretty good.
It just seemed, it just seemed like when he said delicacies, I was like, oh, it's gonna be like a cool, like, meat that we don't have in America with, like, spices in it. It'll be cooked. But nope. It was like a pig's nose and cockroach. Or was it a cockroach? I don't remember.
Yeah, no, it was like just some sort of beetle. But
yeah,
I was prepared for it to all be like, because I'm used to seeing stuff like this for Fear Factor, so it's like penis, testicle.
Well,
eat the penis, do it.
Fear Factor was a very horny show all the time. I saw an interview.
Joe Rogan didn't host that for nothing.
I saw an interview with him on, like, the TV Guide channel, you know, where, like, the bottom half is what's on every channel and the top half is TV Guide programming.
Some really shit programming.
Yeah. In an interview with Joe Rogan, he was like, yeah, we cast people on the show who you would want to have sex with. That's why everyone's so hot on this show. Except for him, of course.
And then also I am there.
And also I'm there, so don't get too excited.
Hoping one day my number's called. And thinking about MMA a lot.
and the interviewer was like, I don't know what that is. This is 2003. Or when did MMA start? When did it become a thing?
It's been around for a long time. It just didn't really rise to prominence until like the mid to late 2000s, I think.
Like when Ronda Rousey started doing it?
I mean, it was popular before that.
Yeah, that's true. It's super popular now.
I love me some Ronda Rousey, but people were into it before that.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar was champ at one time, and the MMA fans were all like really salty about it because they're like, he's from wrestling.
Yeah. Well, like, who cares?
Not like this.
You're watching grown men hit each other. Who cares what the context
also, like,
is?
if you look at Brock Lesnar, he's one of the most terrifying-looking human beings anyone has ever seen. Like, and he did and he was one of the most dominant, like, actual college wrestlers in the history of the sport. So it's like, why would you look at him and be like, he can't hack it here? Like, that dude is like, he looks like he could eat you.
Yeah, and probably would. Speaking of eating, one person from each tribe. Oh no, first it's two people from each tribe come up and they each have to eat one bug or whatever the thing is. And the first tribe to get it done wins. When Cass goes up, she vomits. And then...
Yeah, she does a lot of that.
Yeah. Each tribe wins a couple points. I don't remember what the score was. Kimmy... eventually it's like one-on-one. Kimmy comes up and Kimmy lost in her first season because she couldn't eat what was it, a cow's brain or a pig's brain or something.
Yep.
And so that she goes up to the table and Jeff Probst puts out the little plate with the cover over it. She's going up against Wu, I think, and he pulls the cover off of the plate. And it's a pig's brain, of course, because the producers know what they're doing. And Kimmy says she hasn't eaten pig in 30 years, so going in with the brain first is going to be tough for her. So she's just going to give it to Wu. Like, do not understand what you're doing right now. Like, this is for immunity. You need to do this for your tribe.
She's like, no.
I can't eat a pig's brain. I don't eat pig. Well, you're going to fucking have to, because there's not another option. So then we get to the end, and what is it, like 4-4 or something like that? And for whatever reason, Cass's tribe sends her up, even though she vomited the first time. And she goes up against Tasha, and Cass starts vomiting again. She's starting to chew it, and like halfway through, she just spits it all out, and it's gross. So Tasha chews her little thing up and wins it for her team, which is Bayon.
This, by the way, was the rare challenge where Fishbach very easily did something and Joe lost.
Yeah. It's not all picking up big puzzle pieces. Oh, there was also no puzzle in this challenge.
I was very disappointed.
You love the puzzles. So they go back to camp. Takeo goes back to camp, and they're like, "Oh, the plan is to vote out. Say we're voting out Sierra, but actually vote out Spencer." And somebody
we get some chicanery, though.
So Sierra is mad at Andrew for coming up with the plan to fake vote out Sierra, and mentions, "Hey, what about Wu? What if we vote out Wu instead?" And Cass is like, interesting, but really wants to get Spencer out because they hate each other for some reason. And she's like, "Is there a better use for Spencer right now?" Probably not, but okay, keep him around. So nobody's supposed to tell Spencer. That's the whole plan. Cass, being Cass, is walking down the beach with Spencer and spills the beans, because that's what people do in this show. She says she still likes the idea of taking out Spencer, though, so she hasn't made up her mind. And we get to tribal. Before we get to tribal, do you want to talk about those wildlife shots?
Okay, so the show started, and there was a snake, and then there was a baby monkey.
There weren't a lot this season, or this episode a lot, actually.
Yeah, I feel like I missed, or I wasn't really paying attention to the other ones.
Yeah, all I've got is the baby monkey, of course, because there's always a baby monkey, and some rats at the beginning of the episode, and that was it.
Yeah, pretty light on the wildlife shots.
Yeah, I guess they had a lot of story to get to, but I want to see those eagles, you know?
I wish we could have gotten another bird that was screaming. Horrified at my own existence.
So at Travel, Andrew talks about trust and trustworthiness and how trust is very important in this game. Okay, Andrew, but you're gonna fucking blindside your survivor son.
He's going down, by the way. I do not foresee him
going far.
No, because the thing with it's not going to matter, by the way, because apparently they're merging next week. But
yeah,
that tribe got all kinds of fucked up. If they weren't merging, that's a really dysfunctional group.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's not running the show right now, but I feel like he can adapt pretty well. So if he gets
I think the merge came at a good time for him. Yeah,
for sure. I don't think he's going to win, but I think he'll be a prominent player in the rest of the show. So Andrew talks about trustworthiness. Spencer talks about seeing people as people, which is very on brand for Spencer. Cass mentions that she's having a lot of fun. Andrew is like, "Hey, I don't know why everybody's talking shit about Cass. I haven't seen Chaos Cass yet." And then Andrew says he doesn't have any doubts about tonight. And then, see, this is why I love Sierra. She's not a huge player in the game yet. I mean, this episode she was a little bit, but she's not in it very often. But when she is, she's so good. She's so smart, and it's like she's always playing, you know? She says
she's very good at picking her spots.
Yeah. She says, "We're all second-time players. Everyone has a plan, and someone's plan isn't going to work out." It's like, fucking drop the bomb on these people. She's a smart one. I like her. So they go to vote, and so it's between Spencer and Wu, and it kind of seems like it's going to be Spencer. Although, do you remember last episode of this show?
I knew they weren't going to vote him off, by the way. I knew it was going to be Wu. I hoped, but I knew it was going to be Wu.
Yeah. Remember last episode I said that Wu would probably make it pretty far. He'd at least make it to the merge, but would get voted out early in the merge. I was wrong. He got voted out this episode.
Yeah, I was bummed.
Yeah, it's kind of too bad. But
Speaking of which, by the way, when they showed at the end, when his votes came up, he had one vote with a frowny face, and he had one vote with a smiley face on it. And I was like, who the fuck did that?
I don't know.
When they showed who did it, it was Abby Maria, and I was like, you are dead.
Oh, of
You
course.
fucking awful
She
bitch.
hated Wu. She hated him. Because he voted for her twice, you know? So, severing ties there. There's no chance of them ever being friends.
I want her out. I literally just want, like, the fucking Robert De Niro, like, Untouchables as Al Capone thing where it's like, I want her dead. I want her family dead. I want her house burned to the ground. I want to go and piss on her ashes. Like, I hate her.
I have really bad news for you. I think she's going to be in the show for quite a while longer. And if they ever do Heroes versus Villains again, they're going to bring her back. And she's going to be on the Villains tribe. Oh, my God. I can't believe they haven't done that a second time yet. Maybe they'll do it for the 40th season.
God, there have been a lot of seasons of Survivor.
Yeah, this is, I think, 31. So for the 20th season, they did Heroes versus Villains, which was like their second all-star season where everyone who came back had already played, instead of just a few. Or maybe they didn't do that until Heroes versus Villains. Anyway.
So there's 2 seasons of Survivor, like, a year, right?
Generally, yeah. I don't remember what my point was with Heroes vs. Villains. Oh, it was the 20th season, and then afterwards they were like, oh, hey, when we have people come back, we get, like, people really like it. So they spent a lot of the next few seasons with returning players. They did, like, fans versus favorites and, like, Redemption Island, where, like, there were 3 tribes and 3 people who were returning players, 1 on each tribe. And then they did, what's the other one? Blood versus Water, where half the people were returning players. And then now they've done this, which is all returning players. And I think they're like, hey, let's keep it. Let's not have too many returning players too quickly. Let's get some more people in this game. So maybe by the time the 40th season comes around, which will probably be in like 4 or 5 years, they'll have enough for Heroes vs. Villains 2, which is still like my favorite season that I've seen. Yeah. So that's the episode. And then at the end... What a week it was. At the end, when they usually show the person who got voted out in their exit interview, instead they had Terry do his little exit interview, who was back home, and he was sitting there with his son, alive and well, and he says, our second chance survivor is right here. How nice is that?
Well, yeah, because his son apparently needed a heart transplant and got one.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Did we not mention that was what was happening there?
No, I don't think we mentioned it earlier.
Oh, I meant to. Oh, well. Yeah, so that's the episode. How'd you like it?
It was a good one.
It was a good one, right? Next week's The Merge. That's always a good episode.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah. Who's your favorite to win so far? 6 episodes in, about a third of the way through.
Probably Spencer.
Yeah, it's looking like it for me, too.
Just as soon as you mentioned the winner's edit thing, like, I've been noticing that. And
Yeah, especially...
He's had enough close calls with the way that they're showing him that I just think it's going to be him.
Yeah, it would make sense. I wouldn't be surprised if it was him. It would be fine if it was him. Yeah, so that's the episode. Alright, so for Did You Watch Survivor Last Night? I've been Jake.
I've been Tom. Have a great summer.
Have a great summer. Never change. Bye.